What's my hat say? Oh yeah. Sorry. What? When did I put it on? Okay. That's oddly serendipitous. I grabbed the wrong hat and now I'm wearing the hat that I meant to put on but forgot to. Weird. Anyway, hello everybody. This is Runner as always. Ulrich fronting right now, and I need to make a phone call. I don't know if any of you watched it yet. I don't check numbers obsessively. I usually, wait an hour, 5 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours, forget about it the next morning, go 3 days without remembering I posted it, then check the number, that kind of stuff. But I posted earlier that in addition to needing to sort a playlist into sub playlists, I need to call someone. The person I need to call is the detective who was nasty to me on the phone. And you will not believe the reason I need to call him. Well, if you knew me on Facebook, maybe you'll believe me. I need to apologize to him. I want to preface this by saying I was not sober, and I'm not talking about just alcohol. In fact, that's part of the reason we met. I called for assistance in some issue and was taken to the psych ward for, I believe, because I was incoherent and showing other symptoms that I can't name because I wasn't the observer. I was in the acute stage of schizophrenia, and shortly after this encounter, I got myself diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder in order to prevent basically to hold myself accountable to getting better than I performed on the day in question that I have to apologize for. The thing is, I don't have confirmation I have the correct officer, because I never got the name of the officer that I said the mean thing to. I said something extremely rude and followed it by yelling at him the entire ride to the hospital and running away from him in handcuffs successfully, then stopping because I had nowhere to go, and him catching up to me. Sorry, I shouldn't be laughing. I'm laughing at myself being a dumbass. I'm not laughing at him. And if I'm correct, we also had follow-up encounters where I immediately started yelling. So all those true crimes where a criminal is a dumb idiot and I make fun of them, it's because I used to be that dumb idiot in front of the police, and there will be body cam footage released after my true crime is settled and accounted for. I will be releasing as much of the funny footage as I can, and possibly getting one of those true crime channels to edit it for me. Like, Explore With Us, I would love for them to do the editing and make it pacing better, and, cut out anything extraneous, cut out anything not funny, make the cop look as good as possible, all that kind of stuff. And then have me at the end say, hey, I am better now, I've gotten sober, I'm sober since May of 2025, so here is your message to respect your local authorities, whether you like them or not. Respect will get you a long way. A lot of the times, respect and honesty is all it takes to get out of minor charges, and respect and honesty when you are charged with something is the best way to get better treatment while you are in the handcuffs. And possibly get out of the handcuffs when it's against the rules to do so. Because they have wiggle room on handcuffing you or not. If they can convince you to admit to something more or to be cooperative, and you're already showing signs of being cooperative and not running away. But if you abuse that privilege, they'll keep you in the handcuffs after they catch you. And they will catch you. Just like the officer caught me that day. Even though I successfully got away from him. He probably felt pissed. Little skinny thing. I was skinny at the time. I was probably, when I met him, I hadn't been eating right. So I was probably less than what I weighed when I first got pregnant. And when I first got pregnant, I was 114 pounds when I was a month pregnant. So less than 114 pound me slipping away and running. You know how in the memes about storming Area 51, they said if you Naruto run, you'll run faster? I Naruto ran in handcuffs, and that's how I got away from him. Which is hilarious to say out loud. And I do joke about it often. But he did eventually catch up to me. Because I had nowhere to go. But into an empty hallway or into the other side of an empty hallway. So I just gave up. I'm sure that if it came to a long distance run, he would catch up to me because he was in better shape than I was. And probably still is, you know? Anyway, let's get to the chase. I want to preface this by saying that sexual violence is caused by a need or an entitlement to power and control over somebody else's feelings. I am diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder, and you have to meet certain criteria in order to get that diagnosis. This is one of the times I met the criteria. This is where it bordered into criminal offense, and therefore I qualified. I forget why, but I called 911. The officers arrived. Nobody was speaking to me even when I yelled for attention, and so I just sat down on the curb in my leather jacket and barely wearing anything else, including no hijab, so no headscarf and no hat at all. Back then it was headscarf or bust. And I was scantily clad under the leather jacket. And because nobody was paying attention to me, I felt like I was invisible. So I attempted to smoke my medical cannabis in front of the officers, just to say that I did. And they did not let me because that is illegal in the state of Texas. The plant itself is illegal in the state of Texas. So, they before I could light it, saw what was happening and stopped me. And, one of the officers told me to stand up, I believe. And so I stood up, and I believe they took me out of the leather jacket. But I don't remember exactly. Anyway, I don't remember the exact conversation that happened after that. I do remember saying something that in effect was sexual harassment. And then I did a little dance. And like I said, I'm barely wearing any clothes. I'm in my underwear. And Um, the next thing I know, everybody goes quiet. He looks past me, makes eye contact with someone standing behind me. I assume this is the person that took off my jacket. I'm remembering correctly, that they took off my jacket at all. I believe they were trying to search it, because that's their right. After I pulled out an illegal substance and paraphernalia and attempted to light it in front of them. So I sexually harassed a cop after trying to smoke weed in front of him. He turned out to be the supervisor. He nodded after making eye contact with the cop behind me, and then I was in handcuffs. After that, I can't remember if I started yelling immediately or after they placed me in the back of the car. But they placed me back in the back of a cop car, and it was the supervisor's cop car himself. He wanted to deal with me himself, so nobody else would have to deal with my cruelty. And he took me to the hospital instead of arresting me. And, I never got charged with anything. And as of September of 2025, if I do get charged to anything I admit to doing in Texas, I can have the charges dropped on account of the fact that I was being trafficked. So I have legal immunity on a lot of things. And, because of that, I can be as honest with the police as possible and get the appropriate people charged. I need to apologize to this officer both for myself, because it will make me feel like a better person to apologize to the person that I wronged. And also so that maybe he can heal a little bit, because he deserves healing. Sorry, I'm choking up. Give me a second. Not only for those reasons do I want to apologize to him, but in addition, Zafira, who is pretty sure is the one who was there that day, fronting that day, going by the name Erie. Because on the record we go by Erie to avoid confusion when we switch alters. Zafira, we all believe, including Zafira, that Zafira was the one fronting for most of the events in 2021 that were not on video in the Google Photos album that we went through in the two-part video the other day. So Zafira remembers the events the most and has given consent from Zafira and Zafira representing anybody else involved that day that we may have amnesia of, has given consent for the body and therefore anybody willing to apologize to the officer involved. So we want to, but the reason we need to apologize to him is because when we spoke to him on the phone last, when he was nasty to us, which, as we just explained, we deserved, and why we deserved it, we unfortunately found out that he is still a detective, and therefore the FBI is going to go through him to get evidence, and he's going to have to tell them what he knows about me other than what's documented, like his personal opinions as an officer and a detective. He being detective back then is not only responsible for investigating what happened to me back then, he would be the one responsible back then for connecting all the local reports of me popping up all over the all over the map in his neck of the woods and in White Settlement and possibly connected to Oklahoma. I don't know if they connected each other or not. As I moved further and further from Fort Worth towards Oklahoma, from Texoma to actual Oklahoma and back, and my flights and all that. The reason I was popping up all over the place was because I was the victim of crimes and had a strategy to handle those crimes. And the safest way to handle those instances is to yell as long as you can, as loud as you can until someone else intervenes, including the officers. And in White Settlement, I slept on a police bench one night because they were not authorized to use their precious gas money to take me all the way back to Fort Worth. And I woke up the next morning on the police bench and tried again to get inside the station to charge my phone, and they sent an officer out to talk to me in person, I believe. And the officer said, "Oh, you can charge it right over there in that wall there." And I'm like, I wish somebody had told me that I could charge my phone outdoors at the station last night, so I didn't have to walk a mile away and back, and then fall asleep with an uncharged phone instead of buying an Uber back with the money my aunt sent me before my phone died, at the behest of the police officers, who saved me from an apartment complex where 4 different people called to report that I was yelling for help. And that I was in general causing a noise disturbance. And they wanted to get some sleep, and I was not letting them sleep. And it was like hours of it. So I'm sure all of the crimes that I showed up as not guilty in, but involved in rapid succession in a wide range of areas within his jurisdiction, as well as other jurisdictions that probably forwarded any information about me to him. So he probably had an extensive file about me and was trying to figure out what I was up to. And I was up to something. I wasn't up to anything organized, but I was up to something. And I don't want to admit to it outright here, but I'm willing to go on the record for him in particular and answer his questions. So I'm going to call him. We are 19 minutes into the video. I'm going to end this video and begin the video fresh to call him. And edit out his name, edit out my legal name, apologize to him, and then let him know if he doesn't want to work with me directly, prepare for the FBI to reach out to him on this case. If he does want to work with me, I would be honored to work with one of my heroes. So that is up next on my roster for the day, my to-do list for the day. And then after that, after I finish crying, I am going to do makeup and nails for, I was about to say our legal name. Oh my god. Sorry. For Barbie. Who, Barbie is an anonymity nickname for a specific alter who, among many other alters who are underage and therefore do not front, especially on camera, go by our legal name. So our legal name is kept private. However, if you are asking who exactly is the legal identity of Erie Gaddy, Barbie is the alter that you would ask. It's up to Barbie to decide whether or not to share her own legal name or not. The rest of us alters, we can only use it if it's like required. So like dentist appointments, doctor appointments, legal issues. Otherwise, it's specifically up to Barbie, who is the only person who is of age of majority who goes by the legal name. And it's a huge healing breakthrough that Barbie, in that concept and functionality, exists. Because not everybody gets that far into recovery within their own lifetime. I thankfully have a head start, having started therapy at age 3. Unfortunately, the officer met me when I was out of therapy for quite a while, and therefore had a lot of trauma built up. Not the officer, the detective. He is a detective, and he deserves to be respected with that title. The detective met me when I was in a dark part of my life after many subsequent traumas, including in Texas, 40 different perpetrators in a row. What I called 40, what was it? Yeah, 40 nightmare first dates in a row, something like that. But yeah, crimes were committed against me by 40 different perpetrators in a row. And I was too incoherent and hateful and anti-cop to properly document anything, and then also to report it to the police, because I didn't like the police. And I thought if I reported any of my perpetrators, I would be victimized by the police. So I didn't. But, something about the detective's phone call to me and the way he spoke to me that day. After years of people saying they did not believe there's any way I could be a narcissist, and trying to talk me into getting undiagnosed, because there's 2 different reasons I can get undiagnosed. One, I was under the influence of 2 different substances, one legal and one illegal, when I got diagnosed. And 2, I have autism, and that excludes the diagnosis of narcissistic personality disorder. So people have been trying to convince me to get undiagnosed, because they do not see it being possible for me to be a narcissist. And for someone to speak to me the way the way the person I used to be before I got sober deserved to be spoken to, and probably would have responded to better than being polite in this context, with an officer and a detective. I'm thankful at this point, now that I'm over the hard feelings. I'm thankful for him giving me a chance to really give myself a look in the mirror and think about what I said to him that day that was inappropriate and sexual harassment, and come to terms with the fact that I sexually harassed anybody at all. And I care about him deeply, both because of his profession and because he didn't arrest me, and because he was the one to take me to the hospital when I really, really needed to go and refused to go on my own. And therefore saved my life, as I told him on the phone last time I left him a message. Where I told him that he doesn't need to call me back if he doesn't want to. But I also respect him as a human and an individual who is marginalized. Marginalized for becoming a detective who has been working for more than 6 years, which means he's really good at it. Me getting away with what I got away with does not reflect ineptitude in his abilities to be a detective, but rather my ability to not create evidence of a crime, either by not committing crimes that create evidence, or by making sure the evidence of a crime is, I don't know. I honestly have amnesia of what I did back in the day. But I do know I was up to no good. And that I remember many police calls where they could not arrest me. And the one time he had anything to arrest me for, he let me go. And that completely went against the stereotype I had been given by the anarcho-communists that helped me when I was trying to heal from being trafficked the first time and the second time. But he, the detective, I can't really name anybody else who helped me when I was being trafficked the third time. And it would be an honor to work with him. Thankfully, I have years of experience at learning how to apologize like a pro. Um, I'll probably do life coaching on it at some point. I'll be an apology coach. How to apologize for anything. Anything. And be the most successful you can be at apologizing. And success at an apology means minimizing the harm done, using your words and actions, and boundaries, specifically. What is a boundary? It is a rule that you hold for yourself. If it is for others, it's not a boundary, it's a rule. Just like if it comes from someone with authority over you, it's permission. But if it comes from a peer, someone who is equal to you in authority, it is consent. So how to apologize real well is you name what you did wrong specifically, not just I apologize for my part. Fake apology right there. That is for someone who is not brave enough to admit what they did. You apologize for your part in things. So I will say to him, I am sorry that I was rude to you that day and tried to undermine your authority as an officer and as a detective without even knowing you. Then you specify the possible impacts, especially what you suspect happened impact-wise, with the strongest language you can to validate their experience. So I will say to him, I'm sure that what I said with you stuck with you. What I said to you stuck with you for your years, and that's why you were harsh to me over the phone last we spoke. I'm sure that when I was in the back of the car and you were taking me to the hospital, I said a bunch of things that were very rude to you. And I have, over the years, grown to not agree with the things I used to believe. In 2020 and 2021, I had very black and white thinking about police officers, and I assumed the worst of them in a way that I do not now. So the thing you do in an apology is admit what you did wrong, specify the impact it had, and promise not to do it again. If possible, you need to tell them how you're going to avoid letting it happen again. And you actually have to mean it and follow through with your actions from that point onward. That's the hard part, is changing your behavior. Because a lot of behavior is ingrained in you. You know, it's not really up to you. Free will is an illusion. That doesn't mean we don't get to make minor decisions over what is in the moment happening. We can't go back and change the past, but we can change the future by making more conscious decisions in the present. So I'm going to give him a really good apology if I have time. Well, obviously I'm going to give him a really good apology. I'm going to go into detail if I have time at the end. But I'm also going to warn him the FBI is going to be investigating this because I reported it wrong. It's not SA, it's human trafficking involving videos of SA that I have organized. And there are over 400 items that the officers need to see. the detectives need to see. The FBI detectives need to see. And if he wants to work on the case, he is welcome to be involved. If he doesn't want to work on the case, he doesn't have to call me back. He just has to let the FBI know how to access whatever it is they need from him. And my call will, at minimum, make it easier for him to do so on his own time by extending, the amount of notice he gets before the deadline that they put on his plate. Because I haven't spoken to the FBI directly yet. I have to call them still. And something has been holding me back, and I think it was this. Is I want to work with this detective. It's not just that I want to get this case on the judge's desk. It's not just that I want justice for my daughter. It's that I want the detective who probably lost sleep over investigating me before 2021 when I started being trafficked by this individual that I'm reporting. I want him to be the one to see what happened to me when I was a piece of shit, because I met my match. And no matter what I said to him in the back of the car that day, he will see that this is beyond cruel punishment for me not committing a crime against anybody. Just yelling. Just yelling and using self-defense. And trying to defend my baby who had not been born yet. Who is now a beautiful little girl. She's got... Everybody says she looks like us, but she's got her biological father's good looks. She does look a lot like I did at her age, though. Okay, I am going to get ready for the phone call. Thank you all for watching. I hope you're able to laugh at my dumbassery as much as you are able to be proud at me for being self-aware that it was dumbassery and making the decision to call this officer. Sorry, fuck! I need to stop fucking doing that! Detective. I need to call the detective and let the detective know that I am sorry that I hurt the detective's feelings on purpose. Alright, thank you for watching. I will see you all in the next one. Love you. Bye.